Welcome back to the Kiwi Adviser Network Podcast. I'm the host, Warwick, and today, very stoked to be joined by Claire McArthur from Claire McArthur Mortgages. Welcome.
Thanks, Warwick. Great to be here and be in the offices and in the studio with you guys. Pretty exciting.
I feel like I know you so well because we chat on the phone fairly often, but this is the first time we've seen each other face to face.
It is, and it just goes to show that that's how we do so much business now, is not actually meeting people in person, but online. Here we are, and it's pretty cool.
And in terms of your meetings with clients, what percentage of them are face-to-face?
So I, at the moment, am doing about 80% is online and 20% face-to-face, but I expect that that's probably going to swivel a bit now and go more face-to-face because the world is opening back
We
up.
Want something different.
And the cron is moving on.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah. And I think, like we were just saying before we started this interview, that seeing people like in person is really invigorating. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's nice to just get that. I don't know, you can kind of eyeball people and see what they're about.
Eyeball them.
Yeah. And maybe tell the people, what was your journey like starting out? Like, how did you get into becoming a mortgage advisor?
Yeah, okay. So I have probably always worked in the financial services. So have always kind of dabbled in insurance, banking, consumer finance as well. And then I landed myself a position with one of the big banks and spent about 12 years there and started.
Good slog.
Yeah. I grew up there basically. So I did that and basically did my apprenticeship and got my banking degree. And then woke up one day and thought, I think I'm done here. And I think there's more to life. I'm working for a really big machine. And I feel like I'm starting to become a little bit of a number. My clients are a bit of a number. So how can I change that? And that meant I literally woke up one day and went, yep, I'm done. And 3 weeks later, I had resigned, enrolled in my course to become a mortgage advisor. And I'm now nearly 4.5 years into my journey as a self-employed advisor, and I haven't looked back. It's been wicked. It's been really cool.
And you're, I think, a great example of someone who's nailed that work-life balance. You've got a lifestyle block. You've got a couple of dogs. I feel like I know you so well because I see you on Instagram all the time. But what's important to you? I know.
Yeah. So if I go back to my banking days, it was great. I loved it. I learned so much, and I wouldn't be where I am today without doing that good stint at the bank. I mean, the people I met was just friggin' incredible, and lots of them are now industry colleagues, peers, mentors. But what was really important to me was I was working ridiculous hours, and I was starting to live to work instead of working to live type scenario. Did I get that the right way?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
People get the idea. And it's type of cliche, you've heard it before. You can mix it up. But.
And so when I left, I decided that I really wanted to make sure there was more balance in my life. And I'm not nailing it, but I'm certainly much closer, and it's always a work in progress, as I think it is for a lot of us. So, I went from being in corporate attire, all the fancy clothes and shoes and having a stunning wardrobe, to now rolling around in jeans and gumboots at Smoko, hanging out with the dogs. And, you'll often find me in the paddock with the goats and sheep, which people seem to love.
I love that content. What is weirdly off topic, but what is the goats? I saw they had this weird blue thing around their neck.
Oh, yeah. That's basically the equivalent of cone of shame. So those two little ones keep escaping. So you'd be sitting working away and you'd look out and across the lawn there'd be a goat
just trotting away.
You're like, oh, you're not meant to be there eating expensive trees that we've planted.
Oh, no.
So, they got their cone of shame, and it's not cruel. A lot of people are like, oh, what is she doing? It's very lightweight plastic pipe.
It's just like a necklace.
It's just nice.
People wear necklaces all the time, willingly.
It's bling, yeah. So I'm thinking at Christmas I might put some baubles or Christmas lights on them.
Festive cone of shame.
Yeah. Up the game. Yeah.
And so when you first started, I know you mentioned you've got some mentors you still engage with.
Yeah.
What was that relationship like? Because going out on your own can be tough. You need people to lean on. How did that work? How did that relationship?
Yeah. That was probably the biggest, I guess, hurdle I faced when I went out on my own. Was I came from this big machine that had a marketing department, an IT department. Everything was sorted. You rolled up to work and sorted out clients and gave away money with some approval. And then all of a sudden I was like, right, so how do I do this? And so I actually did subcontract to another advisor under his brand for about 15 months. And what that allowed me to do was I walked into, when I say walked into his business, I started there and we agreed that I would work for him. But there was some infrastructure there. So he was able to give me a lot of contacts in terms of like our wonderful BDMs that support us with banks, industry organizations, people that I needed to know. You guys weren't around then, so, it wasn't a thing, but you are now. He was sort of like, okay, so this is kind of how it goes, because don't forget, I'd only ever worked for one bank, so I only knew one bank's processes and policies, and now I had to learn everyone's. And so it was really cool to have somebody there to support me. So I was still self-employed, but I still had someone holding my hand a bit, and very thankful for that. Yeah.
I think that's like a lot of advisors coming into the industry. I just want to start and do my own thing straight away, but there's so much value in working with someone. And can you see yourself like offering that type of mentorship to other advisors or bringing them into the business?
So I'm perhaps a little bit different to some of the advisors that you've perhaps had on the podcast, where I am not sort of setting out to grow an empire. I'm not chasing the dream of having all these advisors working for me. That said, I think it's really important that we give back to the industry. So I know you've been dishing out my phone number to people because I get people ringing me going, got any advice? And I'm like, yep. And they tell me about their business, and it turns out that they're also a one-man band or one-lady band advisor, and it can become really isolating and lonely. So, I'm all for it. I think we should all share the love and look out for each other, and it doesn't matter whether you've got 70 advisors or one like me.
And looking even outside the finance industry, you might have people calling you up being like, my goats keep escaping me.
Yeah.
Any feedback?
Yeah. I think I have got some followers on social media who are there just for the goat gram. We should do that. That should be a thing.
Goat gram.
Yeah.
Greatest of all time gram.
Yeah.
For goats.
And advisors.
So meta.
Don't share that. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, don't publish this with. So what is your end goal for the business? Do you have one, or is it what's the dream?
Oh, look, I really love what I'm doing in the place I'm at the moment. I do want to refine my systems and continue to work on that work-life balance. Ultimately, I still want to keep serving our homeowners in the industry. I really love that, and particularly small business owners, because quite often those two things are tied together. So we all kind of pick out and find our niche in the market. For me, is just having something that's really streamlined and efficient. I've still got plenty of years left of me, so I'm not quite thinking about my retirement, but I would like to have a well-oiled machine that perhaps one day I could sell and retire in the Cayman Islands or something. Yeah.
Way down the line.
Yeah. I've only just had my 21st birthday, so it's way down the line. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
So how do you bring in new business?
Yep. So thanks to some awesome systems that some people have created for us, such as Trail. Predominantly my clients come from referrals and online. So obviously social media helps with that, but I drive all of my clients back to my website where it's got either an inquiry page or a booking link. And as soon as they book, they get sent their application or registration link for them to start their application. So at the moment, and this is part of doing some work on my website as well, is driving all my clients into the same channel and putting everyone through exactly the same process. So I have done probably in the last 6 months more work than ever on my customer pathway. So making sure all my clients, no matter where they come from, all fit into the same process, and that's typically online because I don't want to be doing no paperwork.
And I think your website looks really good. I know you said you're updating it, but you hit quite a few key parts. It's like straightforward how to get in touch.
Yep.
You've got value add information, and you also hit with that really strong like social proof with all like the Google reviews as well, which you've got maybe like 100 reviews that are 5-star.
I don't think it's quite 100, but
there or thereabouts.
Yeah, there is lots of good reviews on there.
Do you solicit them, or like how does that work?
So that again is part of that customer pathway process. So making sure that once the client has gone through the approval process and we've delivered and given them what they want, i.e. perhaps it's a new home or a new car or a new goat, that it's that follow-up thing. So just because you've got your money, that the relationship doesn't stop there. It's the follow-up. Has your first loan repayment come out? Are you happy? Can you see your new accounts on your online banking? And hey, by the way, we've really loved working with you. Would you mind, taking a minute out of your life to give me some feedback, because it's really important and it helps other clients, potential clients, decide whether they want to work with me or not.
That's great. Yeah, any of those little communication touch points are so valuable, especially it's such a time pressure job.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure you must have some amazing stories of people, pulling off getting the loan a minute before. Or is there any that spring to mind?
This morning.
Oh yeah,
just this morning when I was dealing with in the car park before I came up the stairs. Clients buying a new business, so really cool to keep my finger in a bit of the commercial game as well, which was part of what I did with the big banks. Was to hey, you guys can go unconditional on this new business purchase. And there's a really cool story behind that. That's going to be that'll be a podcast I'll do with you guys.
Extra.
Extra. And we found it at the 11th hour that everything looks great, but we're short a couple of $100, obviously with some zeros on it. So it's been a bit of a scramble this morning to get that sorted. But I think you've just got to always remember there's people at the end of it, people's livelihoods. We're all about delivering on dreams. Sorted. It's really cool.
I was going to say, a couple $100, you just say I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I'll cover that.
Merry Christmas.
When it's a couple $100 with 3 zeros on the end of it. Yeah.
Oh,
not that flush.
How do you keep calm in that instance? Because you'd be dealing with people. You're almost like an advisor. You're also sometimes a therapist.
You nailed it. So quite often the job can be really pressurizing. So I think people sometimes got this misconception that I work from home. It's all cruisy. I've got my animals, my goats, the fire's going. It's all just lovely. It's certainly not like that. There's still lots of late nights, early morning phone calls. When things like this go wrong, sure, there's a solution, but it's always time bound. And so it's really important that you are running efficient systems. And again, that's a work in progress, just continuously updating those. And also making sure that you've got relevant support in your business. So I've got a virtual sidekick who works over in the North Shore and does an amazing job of keeping the communication open with clients. So I'm tied up now. I'm busy. I'm hanging out with you guys, which is really cool. But there's still clients who are asking for things and,
constantly emailing,
wanting money and wanting replies. And a lot of it is just keeping them informed, keeping in touch with them. Those touch points are so important. Nothing ever happens as fast as we want it to in this world. Whether you're building a house, borrowing money, trying to, book the dentist appointment, it never happens on time. So the biggest thing I've learned is that keeping in communication with people is really important. Hey, sorry, I know you wanted this done today, but it's just not going to happen, but I haven't forgotten you.
Just let them know.
Just let them know. So important.
I used to work at an ice cream store. And when it was at the peak of summer,
how do you deal with that? Yeah.
It used to get so busy, and one of the best lessons I got taught was that you just see the people at the back of the line. You just say, "Hey, I see you there. I'm going to be with you very soon," and it means so much more than just standing there in silence.
Yeah, being ignored.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever been into a store and you really need a different size?
You're like, yes, just sell me something.
Sell me something. I've got money to burn in my pocket. I got a big bonus from my awesome employer.
Me.
Yeah, me. Sell me something. And they're like,
yeah.
Dude, okay, see ya. Go next door.
I'm going to go.
Double because the service was awesome. Yeah.
Service is so important. And how often do you revisit processes and systems and, making things more efficient?
Oh, look, let's be honest, not as often as I'd like to. You talk about work-life balance. There's also this balance between being a business owner where you have to work on the business and in the business. But I think that's where it's really important, again, just surround yourself with some professionals. So I do use a business coach. So I, again, on Zoom, meet with her either fortnightly or monthly, depending what work we've going on. And she's the one that keeps me accountable to make sure that, you said you were going to do this project and you were going to revisit your customer pathway. Have you done that? And she then takes her business eye and casts an eye over and goes, well, that doesn't make sense. Or you've missed something. Or what about putting that in there? Or, hey, Claire, you've done really well. So I think, again, surrounding yourself by the right people is really key.
That must be really hard as a business owner, like having somebody else to keep you accountable.
Yeah. No, because, I work on my own a lot. So it's really cool to have somebody else celebrating some of the successes with me.
Yeah, true.
And again, that goes back to making sure that, hey, you might be in competition with the mortgage broker sitting next to you, but actually we've all got a common goal, and sharing stories and pain points can be really, really cool.
How did you meet your business coach?
That was through some women's online networking. So networking is, some people think of certain networking groups and go, oh, I'm never going to do that. I don't need to do that. But if you find the right ones, they're pretty invaluable. And so it was someone that I came across, and I was talking to a couple. I knew I wanted a coach, and this particular lady I started talking to her. Then she mentioned that she had worked for a mortgage advisor in the past. And
Cool.
So she understood the business. Sure, things have evolved, legislation's changed, systems have changed, policies have changed, but she still understood the fundamentals of people come to me to try and get some money to purchase a home. So that was really cool. I was like, you're my lady.
Star.
Yeah.
So are there any projects you got coming up that
well, the big
on?
one is the website. Like you said, it looks great. So kudos to my web people who have done that. But it's really just to build on that now. So include additional information and resources, again, to keep driving clients to that one point, so it's, I should say, place, so that they're always going there to either contact us, start an application, book a meeting, but also resources and that sort of thing. So all those repetitive questions that we get, we're answering those by email at the moment, lots of PDFs that have been created, but we want to put those online for people to visit.
Making it scalable. Yeah, that's the key.
Yeah.
It's as you grow, and it's like something we experience as well. Naturally, you do answer a lot of the same questions.
Yeah. And I mean, you guys have done such a good job of that. I don't know that we'll ever have a resource library like you guys do, where we just type in and generally find the answer. But
yeah, blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
We're updating at the moment, because like the hard part is that whenever one small part of the software gets updated, that's why whenever there's like a tiny, it seems like a small fix, and I'm like, hey, I was just chatting to this person. I think this would be a good update.
But the knock-on effects.
Yeah, it's like going down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So now I try and think about that myself. I'm like, this might be hard. And they're like, no, it's easy. I'm like, okay, sweet.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah, no, it ticks way over my head. Yeah, thank God for you guys and my web people, because, oh boy, if something can be broken, it's me. Not me. Online. If there's a system to break, I can break it. Yeah.
And then sure enough, whenever you bring it to somebody else saying this is broken, that's when it works.
Yeah, typically. Yeah. Normally when you're on the phone to a client or you're on a Zoom and you're trying to share screen, you're like,
oh, I know. I use this
every time.
Google Meet for video calls, and I don't know why, my video won't work. It must be a laptop thing. And how much of an idiot do you look like when you're trying to have an online meeting? Like, yeah, we do online advice type stuff. And
no, not great.
No.
Me on a laptop. Give me a desktop, I'm fine. Like, know my way around. Give me my laptop, and all the wheels fall off. And can never hotspot. When I'm meeting clients remotely. It's so embarrassing.
So I was about to say you're out in the sticks, but when I say that, you're
easy.
You're Bombay, aren't you?
I am at. Hope I can say this on on a podcast, but basically people tell us we're at the bum end of Auckland. We are like right on the border before you hit the dirty Waikato.
No.
So, we are semi-rural. It always felt like it was really rural, but I think as Auckland is just exploding and, urban sprawl, it's become more semi-rural.
Plus a super duper city.
Yeah, super duper city. Yeah. When I was still working in the city for the bank, people would say to me, gosh, why do you live all the way out in Bombay? And for us, it was like, well, why do you live in the city? We like having the space and goats.
Any issues with the interwebs?
Yeah, definitely. So where we are, there's pretty limited options in terms of service providers. And then we have all that shoddy weather that we've just had, and it's pretty shaky. So if you want good service, you pay for it. Yeah.
Top dollar.
Yeah.
Were you in the city before you moved out there? What was that decision-making process like?
So partially my dear partner. So he has always lived out that way. So when we decided to combine households, it was time for me to join him, and I love it. I probably would struggle to live back in the urban world again. I did it for a short stint, and it was like, whoa, there's people next to me, and actually my neighbours weren't on top of me, but it really felt like they were. I was like, whoa, I can hear people at night.
Oh,
yeah,
even
this is not home invasion. Yeah.
There's just people everywhere. Like I walk out onto my deck and I look straight into our neighbour's kitchen, and I just keep thinking, I'm like, maybe I should move out of the city.
No, you should just make friends with them.
I have, and they're very nice, but still.
My best friend lived next door to us when I was a teenager, and our kitchens faced each other, and we used to like open the kitchen window, make weekend plans while doing the dishes for mum.
So how far away are your neighbours now?
Oh, a couple hundred metres. I can't see them. We only ever see each other at the gate, so I don't really know a lot about them. At least my dogs run next door.
Oh, yeah.
Chasing their
Put the kind of shame on.
Yeah, shame. Yeah.
Now, you curate a bit of online content. How do you set aside time to do that? Is that something you outsource, or do you do it yourself?
So the good-looking professional posts, so where they've got some sort of graphic design behind them, I have started outsourcing that. So I am a banker, let's face it. We're generally not the most creative people, so your brain's normally wired one way or the other. So I could spend hours on Canva trying to do that stuff, and it just, brings me to tears. So I've since outsourced that. And again, it's one of those things where I've gone, yes, it costs money, but money is time, and I've got that time back to be writing applications for clients. The stuff where it's me is just on the run. If I'm obviously in the mood and feel like I want to share something with my customers, and that's normally because I get told that you have to, let people know who you are as a person. I share that stuff as and when I feel like it. But the other professional stuff I leave to the professionals.
Yeah, people do buy off people.
Yeah. And that's been really hard because you want to maintain that balance of being professional and credible, but then also showing the normal side of you or your goats and that sort of thing. But it's gone really well. I get really good feedback from it. And look, sometimes I don't feel that I want to, and so I don't. You've really, I think, got to feel like that you're in the right mindset to be able to share that stuff with people. Yeah.
Got to be yourself.
Yeah, you've got to be yourself. And we all have good days and bad days. And some days I, believe it or not, don't feel like talking. So I just don't talk.
That's fine.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah, I think people say the same about me. I forget sometimes that on like a lot of personal social network channels, I've got like clients and people that we work with, and I maybe post some questionable content.
I do see a lot of the work functions that go on around here at CAM. Yeah, some of the content that gets posted after maybe a few cold ones.
Yeah, well,
pretty hilarious.
We were going to have some today actually, but we had company pizza. And I had a whole pizza and I regret it now. I don't know, it's been obvious. But
cheers for the invite.
Yeah, sorry. We saved you a slice.
It's brutal. It's probably been fed to the dog, let's face it.
No food to the dog.
Oh,
no food to
rules.
the dog.
Okay.
Yeah.
Noted. Yeah.
I want to hear about when you first started out, what were the biggest challenges? What were the lessons? What would you tell, looking back now, what would you tell your past self?
Yeah. Oh, gosh. We always want to go back and think, if I had done that or if I hadn't done that. I do think that we focus on spending too much time trying to get everything perfect. And so if I could go back again and tell my younger self what to do, I would say just get in there and do it. Don't sit around and plan and plan and plan and plan, because you could see months fly out the door. Get out there, put yourself out there. Someone told me a long time ago to dish your business cards out like confetti when you start. And I would probably still stick by that advice. So pick up the phone, talk to people, do some networking, don't be afraid. The other thing I did learn, which unfortunately was perhaps a bit of a harsh lesson, was that you automatically assume that all your friends and family are going to suddenly all be running to your door wanting to buy from you or, refinance their home loans or get you to do everything. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty that supported me, but there was a lot that were a slow burn, and there was also a lot who just decided they would rather keep, friendships or family relationships separate to divulging all their personal information. So I didn't struggle with it too much, but I have, industry peers who have started out after me. And I think they've sort of had that expectation. I'm like, oh, I know it's awful, And I've also seen other people who have started businesses, they might be selling soaps or cars or whatever. They, think that everyone's going to flooding in the gate. So I think you have to make sure that you, spread your marketing and spread your, your contacts and go, right, I need to think outside of the box because I can't just sit here and wait for everyone to come to me. You got to put yourself out there.
A lot of advisors, they start out, they contact their friends, they contact their family. Maybe they get referrals from those friends, and then it sort of
stops.
How do you get past that point?
Oh, geez. Definitely through building relationships. So I think when you meet perhaps an accountant or a lawyer or a client that you've built a really good rapport with, it is that whole old school cheesy thing of don't be afraid to ask them for referrals or business. Because they may not have even given that a thought. They may assume that you're busy and you've got tons of work on, and they go, oh, yeah. The other thing that I have learned is that you've got to keep front of mind. So just because you saw that person 2 weeks ago, don't assume in 6 months' time they're still going to be sending you business. You've got to keep regular communications and contact with that. And just yesterday, I was reminded of that. I've got a client who's gone off on her own as a bookkeeper, and by golly, I knew that she had done that, but I haven't spoken to her for 6 months. And yesterday I was like, oh, I could have sent you 4 clients. Like straight away, I was like, I thought of 4 clients I could have sent her. And it was just that front of mind thing. So you've got to put yourself in that position. You need to be front of mind. You've got to keep out there. You can't stop. You can't stop.
So do you have a process for asking for referrals? I know you said you get like reviews coming through. Do you have a way of asking for them?
I do ask my clients for referrals. So, thanks for your review. And there is that 3-month touch point that we're trying to implement. We're not perfect at it, but, deals done, finished, settled. So in 3 months' time, just checking in, everything's going, hey, do you know of anyone else that might be looking for our services? I don't offer any referral program, but the other thing is regular communications. So newsletters, and I think I mentioned this to you a couple of months ago, is those regular newsletters, telling clients what you're up to and also telling them what you're looking for.
True.
People don't know what they don't know. I did a thing about asset finance, and off the back of that, it was like within a week I had 2 deals settled, done, dusted.
Wow.
And it was just reminding people that, hey, that's the service we actually offer. So, yeah, keeping in touch with people.
And can you see yourself maybe like moving into other types of advice, or is it going to be?
No, I think I'm going to stick to the money side of things. Yeah, I do love the numbers, and I do really enjoy the lending side of it. I guess a lot of my colleagues in the industry have, bridged over and gone into insurance as well. I've worked in the insurance field, and it's not something I've got a passion for. So I'd rather stick to hopefully what I'm good at and stick to what I really enjoy, and then use professionals in the insurance side of things to look after my clients. So building strong bonds there. May look at doing Kiwi Saver, but I've got a few other things like the website that I'd like to finish off before I take on something else.
Yeah, do you have a backlog of all the things you'd like to work on?
Oh yeah, there's always a wish list. Yeah.
Okay.
And working with my business coach, we've got a Trello board of Claire's projects, and there's sort of like the big dream list, and then all the things that we actually are working on, and also the things that we've achieved. So it's important to look back and go, well, we actually completed that and finished that, because sometimes you could look back and go, I've done all this work. Have I made any headway? Like, have I actually solved any of my problems or ticked anything off the list? So I think that's quite important to look back.
It's good to reflect.
Good to reflect and see where you've come from. Yeah.
I feel sometimes as well, like if you celebrate the successes and the wins, you feel like you're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
For a while, I was setting myself way too much to do each day. Get to 5 o'clock and I'm feeling down on myself.
Yeah.
I didn't do enough.
Yeah.
But then in reality, if I, change tact a wee bit and look at it, like, wow, I actually did all this.
Being realistic, right?
Yes, I'm far more realistic now.
Yeah.
And being, I don't know if you're the same, but just being a bit more in control of your time.
Definitely. Easy to work around the clock, particularly when you are the boss and no one's paying you a regular fortnightly pay anymore. It's really easy to let it consume you. So you do have to take time out, and even if it means booking in your diary, whether it be a walk with a friend or going to the gym or walking the dog or visiting the goats or playing golf or whatever your jam is, it's really important to do that stuff. And I'm not perfect at it, but I do find if I put it in my diary, then I'm less likely to book an appointment to see a client or do some other work. I'm like, right, committed to doing that. I'm going to do that.
Diarise it. Sometimes it's like the hardest part about going for a run is always like putting the shoes on.
Yeah. You nailed it, actually. Yeah, that's absolutely right. So, I missed something the other day. Didn't make it to a boot camp class because things happened, but I had my shoes on and I was like, right, I'm just going to go for a walk. I've allocated the time to do something for me, so I'll just go for a walk. It's not quite, same as boot camp, but it was better than nothing. So
we do it religiously here. At 11:30, the whole company goes for a walk.
Oh, do you? I love that.
It's very cool.
That's so cool.
On my first day, this is like 2.5 years ago, I remember they were like, all right, we're going to go for a walk. And I was like,
what?
All right. Got downstairs and it was raining. Like, we're going to go back inside. I was so confused. Nobody explained it. This is what we do. And now I stand by because, I've obviously got the dog, but just getting out gives you just like it clears your head and then you can get back into it. And I always feel refreshed.
So good. Again, it's like I should be working, but you've got to have that mental reset as well. And just, take a break from it and clear your mind. When I was working for the bank, I used to run a lot and just download all that stuff, and you come back and you'd be like, right, let's do this. Take on the world.
Because in your computer, sometimes it feels like all the client inquiries and, waiting to hear back from like whatever, they compound, and it can just be, I don't know, it's just simple reset. It's like the computer when there's a problem, turn it off, turn it back on again.
Oh, yeah, the IT department. What should I do? You tried restarting? Yeah, it's probably the same with the human body, right? Yeah. We're pretty awesome machines, but we need a bit of fine-tuning now and then, a bit of a break, a bit of a reset.
Sometimes people ask me for support help. That's usually log out, log back in, or turn it off, turn it back on again.
Yeah, that's my default as well before I ring you guys.
Anything outside of that,
I don't know how to fix this.
Okay, I might need somebody to help
me. I love that you guys do that. That's really cool. That's probably the one thing I miss about working on my own is being in a team environment. I really enjoyed that. So again, that's potentially where the networking or finding some industry peers that you click with, who become your work buddies. They understand, they get it, because let's face it, you can go home and talk to your loved ones, but they don't do what you do all day, every day. And, they potentially got their own job, but you don't always want to just offload on them all the time. And also you're talking about jargon and stuff that they may not understand or even be interested in.
Well, we were talking earlier about the New Zealand Advisor Community Facebook page and how it's good sometimes, because like you say, your friends don't understand all the jargon and the terms, and just to be able to, I don't know, celebrate the wins and maybe just have a moan. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, most people, even in my social circle, my loved ones, will face them, oh my God, the banks have shut the doors on high LVR deals again. Now what am I going to do? I can't find anyone that is going to accept this kind of UMI. What?
Yeah. Or they'll do the classic, oh, right, damn.
Crickets. Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I've definitely got a handful of advisors that you can pick up the phone and have a rant to. Yeah.
Just to get it off your chest.
Get it off the chest, yeah.
I found during lockdown, just go back to the walk, and I just stopped doing it because, if I hadn't diarised it, it's just not going to happen. So started just forcing myself to do it, put it in there, and feel better.
Yeah. It was quite cool actually during lockdown. There was a bunch of us advisors. There was a handful of us that just decided on a Friday morning we'd just have a bit of a chin wag. So jump on Zoom, same thing. Everyone was pretty cash because lockdown, let's face it, the fashion police were out of action. We were all wearing
Might have stayed out of action.
Yeah. You might have stayed out of action. And we're just, just catching up, just having a yarn and shooting the breeze. It was awesome.
I think we need more of that as an industry.
Yeah, I think so.
I'd like to see more.
I think so. I think times have changed where it's, not necessarily going down to the viaduct and having a beer and having a chin wag on a Friday. The world's changed. People are working from home. They're not in the offices as much. So I think online catch-ups like that are probably becoming more invaluable. Yeah.
I'd like to see more of them. I think a lot of people are crying out for it because you're so siloed, especially if you're working from home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You got the catch-ups on Friday. Like, how do you get that, like, team environment?
Yeah. It was really hard. Really hard. You know, you go from working in an office of 25 people to suddenly being on your own every day. And don't get me wrong, I talk about the goats a lot and I love them, but their chat is not that great. You know, they just can't add a lot of value when it comes to that. They're just there for the entertainment. So it is, you know, like I said, networking's quite cool because if you find the right group where you're comfortable, you can find some really good people there. And if they're there to do business, that's really cool as well. You know, it's not just a bit of chit chat. I have got a chat group on Messenger where there is 2 other advisors.
Open invite?
No, unfortunately, no. This is only ladies.
Very much closed. Oh,
sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, and it just happens to be 3 of us, all different parts of the country, who have got very similar values, similar vibe. Similar sized businesses, similar goals. And it's just like having a chat with my girlfriends. And we've become friends. They come to Auckland and we catch up and stay with each other and go out for dinner and whatnot. But there's daily chat, whether it's work, challenges, kids, home life, whatever it is. And it's just, that's like my workplace, you know?
That's so cool.
Hey girls, have a great Friday.
And how did that come about?
So one of them I had worked with briefly when I was still at the bank. We'd never actually met each other. We just knew of each other's names, and then we both became advisors and we're like, hey, I recognize your name. Hey, I recognize your name. Oh, we're doing the same thing. Cool. Let's keep in touch. And then a third one was, just through connections as well. And we just, it's quite cool.
Sometimes there's people like that in the industry and you haven't met them.
Yeah.
But you're like, I know we'll get along.
Yeah, so one of them came up from Palmy and had never met her, and she came to stay with me, and she got dropped off. She had been at a business lunch and then got dropped off at my place, and she basically had to send a text like an hour later, just confirming Claire is not an ex-murderer. You know, obviously I've been chatting to her for ages. We've met online, millions of conversations, have shared all sorts of information, but have never met in person. Like,
not a catfish.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, she's not a catfish. Yeah, and she spent the night. We went out for dinner and wished that she had stayed another night, and looking forward to another catch up. So it's a cool friendship that's developed out of that.
That's so cool. I'm sure there's other people out there in a similar position.
Yeah.
And if you just see someone that you like the look of, just pick up the phone.
I know. And that's why I think, the advisor groups that you guys, got online for us are really cool because it, we can all jump in there and it's a way of bringing everyone together. But I do think it's really important that you find a couple of friends in the industry. And, sure, you can class everyone as a competitor, but I think that's the wrong way to do it. There's enough work for all of us and we're all facing the same challenges at the moment. Yeah.
Why not work together?
Yeah,
I love
absolutely. That. And I discovered someone the other day who specializes in a specific field of lending. And I had, a client who contacted me and I was like, you know what, I could do this, but it's actually not something I love doing. And sent it on to her. And the client's happy as we're both happy, carried on with our day. And it's like,
you feel comfortable knowing you've sent them somewhere decent.
Yeah. It's like insurance. Clients who need insurance, I'd rather send them to someone, that I think has got, again, similar values and similar approach to business and is going to look after my client. That's all I'm worried about.
Also, do you have an insurance advisor you refer to?
I've got a couple that And again, it's fitting the client with the right advisor. So, I'm like, they're a cool young couple. That advisor has got a similar background. They've probably got some things in common. That would be a really good fit. How about you guys talk, introduce them and
would they be good friends? Yeah. And the people that you refer to for insurance, do they also do mortgages or they just specialize?
No. So I stick to ones that just specialize in mortgages. So, I think that would be a bit confusing for the client if I was like, cool, I'll do the mortgage and then I'm going to send you to someone who does mortgages and insurance. And they're going to be like, Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And how did you build those relationships?
So one of them was somebody introduced me to someone else. Hey, I think you're going to be a great fit. I think you guys will get on. You should talk. And then other ones I've actually met through Facebook advisor group.
Oh, really?
Yep. So there's a couple of people in there that I referred to for insurance and KiwiSaver where we've spoken on the phone, you know, kind of stalked them a bit on social media and their websites and got a bit of a vibe about, you know, about who they are and what they're out to do for clients as well. So
I have it all the time too, where I know so many advisors, and people will be like, "Hey, I've got a client up in Auckland who needs like an insurance only," and weirdly enough, people just call me up and ask me from time to time about like these types of relationships, and it's usually just the ones that stick fresh in my mind.
See,
I'm like, yeah, hey, you should meet this person.
See?
So
front of mind.
Yeah,
I haven't had any clients from Bombay that you've referred.
No,
I'm kidding.
I think Steph in the office she used to live pretty close to you.
Really?
Yeah, quite close.
Oh, better have words with her about that.
Yeah, catch up.
Yeah.
I feel like she might have moved, but again, see, wouldn't know otherwise. But I think there's been so many really good lessons for like solo business owners because it can be quite isolating. I love like the little tips and tricks you've shared with us.
Yeah, awesome.
It's been so good having you here.
Oh, it's been great.
Been a pleasure.
Great. Really cool to come in and meet everyone and finally meet you face to face.
I know. Wow.
Eyeball you. Yeah.
Should we get finished on that pizza?
Sounds great.
Thanks for joining us today. Stay tuned. Next week, we're going to have more episodes coming up and can't wait to see you again. Cheers,
cool.
Claire.
No worries. Thanks for it.